pretty beautiful that you've done that. Why do you think it's hard for people to be generous?
Wow. I think it comes down to control. Giving up control of what we have and what we think that we earned or that we deserve, and just trusting that God has something bigger and better for us.
You're giving up things that you currently tangibly have
Yeah.
in order for the idea that there's something greater or more beautiful coming.
Right.
Do you feel like you've experienced that greater or more beautiful in your lives, or do you think that's maybe mostly coming later on?
I think it's yes to both. I mean, I think it's kind of evolving. I think God has done, yeah, he's blown us away with his generosity to us, repeatedly and in many different ways.
Well, the second question is, do you think God takes care of people's needs? And talk about maybe some of the dynamics and how or when God takes care of people's needs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think God does take care of our needs, and Scripture certainly supports that. I think a lot of times it's different than what we might want or expect, and I think sometimes our wants are not necessarily our needs, and God in his wisdom knows what we need and doesn't always give us what we want.
Sometimes that's his mercy that he doesn't give us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You picked a scripture.
Luke 12, starting verse 22. Then Jesus said to his disciples, therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat, or about your body, what you will wear. Life is more than food, and the body more than clothes. Consider the ravens. They do not sow or reap. They have no storeroom or barn, yet God feeds them. And how much more valuable you are than birds. Who of you by worrying can add a single hour to his life? Since you cannot do this very little thing, why do you worry about the rest? Consider how the lilies grow. They do not labor or spin. Yet I tell you, not even Solomon in all of his splendor was dressed like one of these. If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today and tomorrow is thrown into the fire, how much more will he clothe you, O you of little faith? And do not set your heart on what you will eat or drink. Do not worry about it. For the pagan world runs after such things, and your Father knows that you need them. But seek his kingdom, and these things will be given to you as well. Do not be afraid, little flock, for your Father has been pleased to give you the kingdom. Sell your possessions and give to the poor. Provide purses for yourselves that will not wear out, a treasure in heaven that will not be exhausted, where no thief comes near and no moth destroys. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also.
He opens right up with the question of worry. And how much do you think worry plays into being generous or not being generous?
Oh, I think it's huge. Everything gets filtered through that. And it's hard to be generous when you're worrying about those things.
Yeah. It's interesting to me that Jesus delineates between pagans and his children. And the primary delineation here is that's what they run after. That's what they're consumed with, versus the children of God who don't have to be consumed with that. Would you say that how we handle our finances is one of the key determiners on whether we're in the kingdom or not, or functioning in the kingdom or not?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I think it's key. And he says that in the last, verse, for where your treasure is, your heart will be as well. So, if our treasure is material thing, that's where our heart is. And God has something much bigger for us and better.
The idea that our hearts are connected to material things that we all know don't last forever. Maybe they feel like they last forever. That how sad that's the best we can do to attach value to things that are knowingly temporary.
And I think all of us have, kind of experiences where we really wanted something, and maybe we worked for it or whatever, and we ended up getting that item, and it never really satisfied us. It never was kind of what we really thought it would be.
Mhm.
It doesn't last, very long, and it's gone.
Yeah, and we chase after that, and we somehow end up sacrificing the things that do last, like relationships, perhaps. It's interesting doing life celebrations for people, funerals, and seeing how different families are dealing with the loss connected to financial things. And you always hear stories of families squabbling over inheritance,
Yeah.
And it's just like, how is it that that's more important than the person you lost? You flip that on its inverse, and maybe the person that was lost put more of a priority on that as well.
Yeah.
You just see the toxicity of a life chasing after temporary things.
Yeah.
But it's not easy, is it? It's not easy to be generous.
No, it's not. I mean, and we, I struggle with it, still, to this day. It's.
Are you ready, Boots? Start walking.